Back in 2006, I went around the country filming different bikes and different owners to explain why they've got the passion for the different mopeds and motorcycles of that era. In this first video, we're going to see John Watts and his passion for the Yamaha FS1E moped. John went on to produce the How to Restore an FS1E manual, which you can still buy at the moment. So let's take a look at John's passion and he'll explain to you about the Yamaha FS1E. How was that for you?
Superb.
Well, how long have you been a collector of fizzies, John?
Probably about 4 years this time. First time was in 1975 when I bought my first one. This is a drum brake one. The first one I had was an early DX. The same paint lines, same badge, but it was yellow and it was had a disc brake.
Right. And you've actually got quite a collection, haven't you, at the moment?
Yeah, I've got 17 altogether.
Right, in all various shapes and forms.
Yeah.
And your plan is obviously to restore and renovate them.
Yeah, I started initially 4 years ago with one to restore identical to the one I had in 1975.
Right.
But it's just escalated. I ended up with 17. All of mine are the pedal models with the screw-on tank badges. 4 of them are DXs, and the rest of them are drum brake.
How do you find the parts for them?
There's quite a network of people who are restoring these, and there's a lot of swapping going on. Also eBay is quite good, but it tends to be quite expensive.
Yeah, do you find there's a lot of people use eBay and that tends to push the prices up?
It does, yeah. There's a lot of people who seem to have quite a lot of parts who know that there's quite a collector, they're quite collectible, and so consequently the prices go up, especially on the early models.
What do you think are the hardest parts to source for the bikes that you collect?
On the models I've got, the hardest parts are the tank badges and also the seats.
Yeah, so who does all your paintwork?
A friend of mine does it. He's able to match all the colours. He gets all the dents and scratches out and makes a nice job of it.
And what do you do with regards to the chrome work? You obviously have to get that re-chromed, or if it's gone too far you obviously get it like new parts or pattern parts.
Some of it you can get re-chromed. This one does need a bit of work. It needs a new front mud guard. It's got the pedal gear missing, but that's all to go on. A lot of it can be re-chromed. I've even found a place that will re-chrome the indicators, which, because they're a sort of a cast aluminium, they were very hard to get re-chromed, but I can get them successfully done now.
How far do you normally go with a restoration? Do you take it right the way down, or do you just tidy them up?
Sometimes it's very tempting to tidy them up, but almost, well, in all cases with mine, I've had to take them back to completely to the beginning. The frames, starting with the frames, they have to be sandblasted and painted or stove enamelled. So really, you've got to take the whole thing to pieces.
So, I mean, when you go to look at one that you're possibly going to buy, I mean, is there anything you won't buy?
It depends on the frame number. If it's a 394 being a drum brake one, or a 596 being a disc brake model, I'll buy those. If it's a later one, and it's dressed up to look like one of these, then I won't have it, because it's pointless trying to put all the parts on the wrong frame.
Right, so you're basically looking to keep them as standard and as original
as much as possible, yeah. You have to use pattern parts from time to time. The original parts, like the rear mud guards, are very hard to get, and the tank badges, some of the front mud guards are hard to get. There's you can get a lot of pattern parts, but they're always slightly different.
Right, so this is obviously one that you're going to restore, John. I mean, what have you got plans for this, for example?
Well, this is a good one to restore, because it's 100 from new. It's generally all there. although it's in poor condition, the whole thing's got to be stripped down to the basic frame and started again. But the biggest problem with FS1Es is the owners, the young owners, who chop bits off, change things.
So with regards to the FS1E and the SS, I mean, what basically is the difference?
Well, this is an FS1E. This is a 75 model. It's an early drum brake model with the tank badges.
Yeah.
The one behind it's actually got the wrong side panel on it, but this is a 73 SS. The only difference between it was the badge, the name FS1E, and the colour. This was the candy gold, and this is the popsicle purple.
Yeah. How much would you likely be able to spend on doing this purple one?
To buy this one would probably set you back about £500.
Right. What in the condition it's in now?
As it is now. To restore it, you're probably looking at another 500 plus.
Right. Okay.
To get it completely right. There's a lot on here that's really can only be thrown away now. The exhaust.
Your rear mud guard's obviously split there. I mean, that's not really salvageable, is it? Or?
No, this rib mud guard is beyond repair. It's broken here, it's cracked here on both sides, and that has really had it. The problem is that it's got the original tunnel, which is the pattern ones don't have, although there are some coming out, pattern parts with the tunnel on them. It's a non-runner. I've yet to discover the reason for it. Apart from anything else, it's seized. So this will have to come to pieces and start again. Quite often on these you have to change the main crank bearings and certainly all the oil seals. But it's being a single cylinder two-stroke, it's quite a straightforward engine to work on.
I mean, I've heard stories of these in the past where people putting vegetable oil in to run as a two-stroke oil.
Yeah, they're unfortunately in their early life they're quite abused. But I think Yamaha only intended them to last probably 10 years maximum. So any that are still running now have done pretty well.
How many have you actually got up and running all together at the moment?
Do you want to answer that honestly?
How long do you reckon the restorations are going to take you? Is it an ongoing passion, or is it something which you're actively trying to keep on top of?
It's an ongoing thing. It's something that escalated really from having the first one. It's become almost an obsession, and it's a hobby, but it's something I enjoy doing. So it's a labour of love more than anything.
Right, obviously this is your spares little haven, John. I mean, what sort of stuff have you got in here?
I've pretty well got just about everything I want really, but I still seem to want to go out to auto jumbles to buy more parts, and every so often you get lucky and you get brand new parts like that, which have been obsolete for some time, and things like this, which you just can't buy anymore.
Mm. Are these sort of old stock off of like dealers, or that have been laying in the back of shelves for years and years, or?
Well, I've got a box full of stuff down there, which was as a result of a motorcycle dealer moving premises, and they came across a load of parts and told me about it, and I went down and bought the lot.
A lot of your parts on your shelf there seem to have been refurbished. Who actually does them? Do you do them yourself, or?
Engine casings, for example, that's been sandblasted and then stove enamelled to give it the original finish.
So you'd put new oil seals in that, and that's ready for use again.
That's right, yeah. On the shock absorbers, one of the biggest problems is the chrome sections, rust, and Yamaha only sold those as a one-piece item. So I've been buying Honda shock absorbers from breakers yards, and they fit exactly the same.
So you can strip them shock absorbers down then, can you?
Yeah, you undo, there's a nut on the bottom there, you undo that and pull the whole thing to pieces.
Are those sort of parts, are they now obsolete then to buy the originals?
Yes. Yeah, these are now obsolete, along with tank badges, mud guards, all sorts of parts.
So that little tip there for the shroud there, the silver shroud, is quite a good idea for it.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing you have to watch is that the hole on the bottom is a different size, and there's a nut that holds it on, which is in there, and on a Honda it's bigger, so it's worth changing the nut, even changing the spring if you can, and then putting it back together with the new casing,
What's actually involved inside that? Is it just a spring or is it hydraulic?
It's I think it's an oil-filled shock absorber.
Right, and is that part accessible still? Can
No.
you still buy that? You can't buy
No.
that.
The whole thing, it came as a one-piece item. You couldn't buy the parts for it.
Right.
So refurbishing them is the only answer.
Right, you've got this beige brown one here, John. I mean, what's the story behind this one then?
Well, this one's work in progress. It's all been taken to pieces, and the frame's been repainted.
So you've actually taken this one. It was like one we saw earlier on outside. It was pretty much in that sort of condition, was it? Or?
Yeah, I got this one as a gold one, and it had a later front end on it, so it had the wrong forks and the wrong front wheel. Taken it to pieces, sandblasted it, had it stove enamelled. Same with the swinging arm. The side panels have been resprayed, the shock absorbers have been overhauled. The tank that I was going to use on it is actually an original tank, but it's faded, so it will need painting. Where the sticker peeled off, you can see there's a difference in the colour.
Yeah, that's in pretty good condition, really. Though there's no real dents in it at all.
It's in nice condition. I mean, there's very little rust inside, but it'll come up very well when it's painted.
How would you get the rust out of the tank inside? Is there some sort of treatment they go through? Is it?
Yeah, there's a coating that you can apply to the tank. You put it inside the tank, and it coats the tank, covers up all the rust.
Who does that? You wouldn't be able to do that yourself, would you? Or can
Yeah,
you buy that?
Yeah, you buy a can of or a tin of the stuff and just pour it into the tank.
Right, and you swish it round, and within a certain amount of time, it creates a barrier.
Yeah, it just forms a film or seal all the way around it. When I take them to pieces, all the parts that can be salvaged, I bag up, put the part numbers on the bags, and keep separately. Most of the parts for this one, all the zinc coated parts have gone off to be recoated. All the chrome parts have gone. The fork legs have already been painted. These parts are actually new. These collars here, and those gaiters are the originals. They've come up quite well.
Right, so you're quite aware of the differences between the two models, John. I mean, what have you got in your hand there?
Well, this is a good example. On an early pedal model, up to 1977, from 72 to 77, that's a right-hand fork leg. That's the fork leg off an auto lube model. And the difference is that the brake plate changed sides, and so that lug that holds the brake plate in place went onto the other side. Additionally, you can see that the lugs are much wider on a later model, so the forks aren't interchangeable unless you change the whole front end, and then it takes away from being standard. This is a 75DX tank that would originally have been in yellow, and it wasn't in bad condition. It's quite good condition inside, but it's got a couple of dents on the top here. It's got a dent there, and really to get it to its original condition, you need to strip all the paint off, get it back to the bare metal, and then have it filled on all the dents, take all the scratches out, and then have it painted.
There's obviously no rust welding that needs doing on that at all, like holes or perforations? Or...
Not on this one. Occasionally they can pinhole along the bottom here. This one actually needed a little bit of welding down here, but that's all been done and the tank's been tested.
So you'd actually go to the extent of getting the welding done if they need it?
Yes.
Is there any sort of damage, like with larger dents obviously, that you wouldn't entertain a rebuild on the tank?
No, I've had tanks that are completely out of shape and have been brought back to the original lines.
And what sort of finish can we expect to get afterwards?
Once it's taken down to the bare metal, all the dents and scratches are taken out of it. It's going to be painted, and then the new decals applied.
I mean, that looks virtually like a new tank. I mean, what sort of condition would that one have been in before restoration?
Same as the previous one.
Really?
Yeah.
So I mean, you've got new badges on there, new decals.
Yeah, it's got new badges on. These decals I had made by a local firm, copied from an original tank. They get applied, and then the whole thing's lacquered over the top to seal the decals on. And then there's the warning sticker on the top there that goes on top of the lacquer, which is the 20:1 mix with the petrol oil.
Do you actually maintain the normal colours? Is that original Yamaha colours?
Yes.
So you're not entertaining different colours? Or...
No, all the ones I'm restoring, I'm trying to do them original. So I'm going for the original colours. This would be on an early DX.
So what would the early colours be then of the fizzes that you actually collect and restore?
Well, the first SS model would have been candy gold, then it would have been candy gold for the first FS1E after that, and then going to popsicle purple, and then the early DX was competition yellow, and at the same time the early DX came out, the drum brake model changed to Barger Brown.
That was before the speed lock type.
After that it went to the speed block and they lost the tank badges.
Did they maintain the same colour scheme? Obviously the purple wasn't relevant.
Purple and the gold finished before the speed block or Kenny Roberts tanks came out.
So it's really been your hobby for the past 4 years, John, but you've actually taken that one step further, haven't you?
Yeah, about a year ago I was approached by the publishers of Funky Moped, which documented every moped of the moped era, and they asked me to write a restoration manual based on my FS1Es, and so that's a year's work in there.
What was your first moped then, John?
My first moped was a 1975 Fs1E-DX on a P-Reg. I bought it when I was 15 and started riding it when I was 16 in February 78, and a month later I crashed it into a stationary vehicle, went over the top of the car, landed flat on my back. The bike smashed into the car, bounced backwards, completely smashed the front end. When it bounced backwards it took out the tail end as well. It cost me £200 to buy it, and there was £314 worth of damage. But I had it back on the road within a week, and never looked back.
Right, big question, how fast was your fizzy?
It's difficult to see the speedo when your chin's on it, but it was, I would say mine was 50 plus.
Yeah. So you're not one of these who said they had a 70-mile-an-hour fizzy?
No. I was a lot lighter at the time. I don't think I could get 50 out of a fizzy now, but I'm sure it would do 50.
Well, there you go. That is John and his FS1E collection. He may still have them, I don't know. I haven't seen him or heard of him for a few years now. But hope you enjoyed that video. Do check out the other videos in this series of our motorcycles from the 70s and 80s. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.